This video is brought to you by Skim, a gorgeous puzzle platformer that was one of our favorite games from the recent Steam Next Fest. Skim is out July 18th. Head over to the Steam page to check out the demo and wishlist the game today.
Are any of us still here?
Yeah.
Is
Chat
Eric
still
gone?
saying no sound?
We can't even hear you, Eric.
Yeah, I see a little mute thing on the video. Is that what happened? Like on the Discord call video?
Oh, we're on. Oh, hello, everyone. No, hello, everyone. Welcome back to Firelink Podcast, episode number 29 for Wednesday, July 17th, 2024. My name is Marty Sleva, and I am joined by Nick Calandra, Casey Wosu, and producer Eric. Thank you all so much for putting up with those technical difficulties, and welcome to the show. We got a great one for you guys tonight. We're going to be chatting a little bit about Amazon has a Xbox bundle for Prime Day called the No Console Required Bundle. What's going on there? And Casey, I don't know if you knew this. I'm already signing you up to be the guinea pig for this.
I did order one, so I can just write it off now.
Please. Perfect. Thank you so much. Also a little bit about No Man's Sky, the game that keeps on going, just got its 5.0 update, and people are like, oh, the game is now like bigger and crazier than any of us ever thought it could be. So I feel like this is one of those games we just don't talk about enough, that it is like the little game that keeps chugging along. And then speaking of chugging along, our main topic is going to be talking about what it means to launch a franchise in 2024, why it's so difficult, why some games manage to land the plane while others seem kind of DOA on entry. Talk about some games in recent years that we feel like we're able to successfully launch franchises, maybe hypothetically, because a lot of those games might not have a second installment yet, and then other games that may have failed to do that, and why it seems tougher now, I guess, to do that than maybe in the past. And of course, chatting about all the stuff we've been playing and watching. And then right off the bat, Corey Richardson, thank you so much for joining the Green Gang. And also thanks to our sponsor, Skim. I say that because this is one of the rare games that has sponsored the show that I've finished fully, and I will have a bite size up probably the next couple days. Skim is great. I give the embargo's up. I can say it. Skim is delightful, and if you have a couple hours this weekend, I highly suggest you pick it up, jam through it. It's a cozy little rainy day game. If it's raining by you, you can play it. If it's not raining, you got to buy it and wait till it's raining. Them's the rules. The Marty Skim rules. How are you guys doing? Welcome. It's Wednesday.
It is Wednesday once again.
Yeah.
I'm doing okay. I'm feeling. I don't have high energy, but I also don't have low energy. So there's that
little medium energy.
little medium level energy. But I'm feeling okay. Yeah, nothing like crazy to report. Like I've just been coasting. Like the games have been all right. Like again, nothing mind blowing, but there are a couple things on the horizon that I'm looking forward to. That bow,
we're getting a lot of codes. Yeah, the bow.
yeah, that bow. What is it? Path of the Tea Leaves? Something of the tea leaves?
Path of the Lotus, I think.
Lotus of the Teal Leaves. I can't remember the
Bow
subtitle.
Lotus. Bow Path of the Teal Lotus. We said all those words at some point.
Yes, the title was in there somewhere. I'm really looking forward to checking that out because I had my eye on that for a little bit because just like Nine Souls before it, it looks an awful lot like Hollow Knight, and it seems like it's got some great movement, and I'm going to give that a shot probably as soon as we're done here.
I read off this list on Yahtzee Tries just a couple hours ago, but it is crazy that we're in this like week span where there was kind of a trickle of games every once in a while, but in like the span of like 10 days or so, we got Angerfoot, we got Flock, which we did those two for Yahtzee Tries, and then we got Bow coming out, Dungeons of Hinterberg, Skim, Kinutsugami, Cataclysmo, Valley Peaks, Arranger. Yep. Like it is a new Earth Defense Force. It is wild. People are wild out here just releasing games. Nick, do you got game fever? Game green? Game green?
A little bit. I'm just kind of exhausted.
Sure. Yeah.
Games will do that to you.
You had Concord fever. You had Concord disease.
Did play a lot of that this weekend.
We're going to talk about that later on.
Jealous.
Yeah. Getting that beta. But it's coming out soon, right?
August. Yep.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh, yeah. I guess August is soon. There's supposed to be an open beta next weekend, right?
This coming weekend.
Yeah. Oh, this coming weekend.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm hoping that works for me.
Easy peasy. Yeah, but we're chatting about next time in Concord. Plus, KC reviewed Flintlock. I guess the review's not up yet, but we can talk about the game because it's one of the bigger releases of this week. We'll kick things. Well, before we kick things off with the Amazon news, King Dead. Thank you so much for a $2 donor. Reviewing a sponsored game. Get Marty a shill hat. We literally brought it up that I excised myself from the sponsorship. From the thing, I didn't write anything, I didn't VO anything. I was like, this game looks cool, but I need to step away because I'm bite-sizing it, and I got journalistic integrity.
You also reviewed it before it was sponsored by us, right?
I did that. No, I did the Steam wish list. It was part of my
gotcha.
Or not wish list. What was the video? The Next Fest video.
Yeah, our Next Fest.
I wrote about it for the Next Fest video, and then
you were already looking forward to it.
Yeah, I got skim fever.
I encourage that. If we shout out your game at some point in some video and you're a dev, hit us up to sponsor the thing because we already are feeling good towards it. That's how I feel.
Halo probably don't want to sponsor us. We've been very critical of Halo, so I don't know if I don't want to sponsor us. I mean, what would Halo have to sponsor?
Closest we'll get is Game Fuel.
You gotta
the Master Chief Doritos.
God. And Quintuple A, thank you so much for a $10 dono from Overzealous Enthusiast, Marty Love. The world needs more Marty Love. If you ever feel down, Marty, do not forget you are a positive, heartwarming presence in this vastly frightening world. It was very sweet words, and I'm confused if you said that or if Overzealous Enthusiast said it, but I'm going to assume Overzealous said it.
Yeah, it says from Overzealous Enthusiast.
I mean, I could say anything. I could say this is from Michael Jordan. Doesn't mean fucking MJ.
So you're saying Quintuple A is a possible liar, which I guess is fair.
He's definitely lied before, but he's great, but lied before.
From Gandhi, subscribe to Second Wins Patreon.
Well, we do say friend of the show all the time. We've wanted to do a supercut, Jack and I were talking about, of all the different friends of the show, and that would be so many. I did say Overzealous Enthusiast. It's Euthanasiast.
Okay.
I said enthusiast. That was a gag you guys had on Monday, right?
Yeah. Fun fact, that's a hard word to read properly when your brain is split in half from streaming. This is something we have all learned.
And we say the word enthusiast all the time because we used to work at a place called Enthusiast. So you know what? Just get off our asses, pretty grim games.
Oh, man. PTSD in our super chats.
Hugo Bogue with a $10 dono. We can't even get to this news item. Guys, you guys could... This could technically be a filibuster. We could just not do a show.
Yeah, if you want us to stay here longer, just keep sending super chats before Marty can start the topics.
But I literally said a hard out. But this can't be. This is what happened in Rewind last week, and that ended up being like a 2.5 hour show. It was like
People like it. I loved every.
No, we didn't like it. I had to do several shows that day. I didn't like it at all. Thank you so much for the $10 dono. Shout out to Marty for sponsoring this chat. You know what? I would, if I could sponsor just the chat and not the content itself, I would absolutely do that. So I appreciate that.
Let's write that down. We'll have a meeting about that. How do we sponsor just the chat?
Just chat. And Rose Delta with a $5 dono. Thank you so much. And remember, all your donations right now are going towards. It is a topical donation because I guess all of our donations are topical because this is our company, so everything's topical. But Casey and I continuing our long-running tradition of playing through series of games with Metroid Prime, the trilogy, and maybe a little other M. We can sprinkle a little other M in there if you're feeling nasty. So thank you so much, Rose Delta. Are you not feeling nasty?
We'll see how nasty other M is. We'll see.
I finally have a consistent income again, so more donations. Thank you so much. Also, Thor from Pirate Software seems like he'd fit in as a Firelink or DevHeads guest. A couple people have suggested that. Yeah, we'll keep that in mind. Speaking of guests, I don't think we can say it yet. I don't want to say it yet because I don't want to jinx it. DevHeads on Friday. Hachi Machi, they might have a guest. We hyped it up in the last stream. I'm hyping it up again. It'd be funny if it
worth the
fell through.
hype.
If it fell through and it's just Jack. I've never made a game, but hi guys. Here's my clown horn. Honk honk. You're great. Finally. Amazon's console required bundle. Casey
Super chats are more exciting. Keep them coming.
They are. Amazon announced. Obviously, Microsoft seemed to have two big pillars of this generation, which is consoles are no longer a central part of of their plan. Their plan is that you could play Xbox anywhere thanks to the cloud, and that Game Pass is central to that. Obviously, Game Pass, we talked about last week, there could be a little shakiness there, but it seems like they are pot committed to the idea of playing Xbox wherever you want. And Amazon Prime released a big thing for Prime Day that you can buy. I believe it is a bundle for $78.99 that is like fresh off the box. It gives you access to the Xbox library and Game Pass thanks to a Fire TV stick, and I believe it also comes with a controller.
Yeah, I think that bundle does come with a controller.
Yeah,
no, I just bought the Fire Stick. I did not buy the bundle.
Gotcha. So and a Game Pass Ultimate subscription. So the idea is this could ostensibly be for the price of a game. You could jump into the current generation of consoles. Obviously, all of that is dependent on your internet connection. Like, I haven't spent like a ton of time playing cloud gaming. Like the most I've spent is PlayStation Portal, and that is a little bit different because it's just like speaking to my.
It's like local area network or something.
Not technically, because I did use it on vacation or when I was in a hotel using it on a trip I went on, and so that still like my Wi-Fi
goes back to your house's.
Yeah, like my PlayStation was on, and like if someone would have turned that TV on, it would have shown that. And it worked pretty well. Not like I wouldn't want to play a whole game, but it was good for. I think I was reviewing Final Fantasy at the time, so I was just like doing some side quests and stuff like that. But like, have either of you guys spent a ton of time doing cloud gaming, whether on Xbox or elsewhere? And like, do you feel like it's at a great place now, or is it more of a okay, if we just wait a little bit, it'll get there?
I feel like you need fiber for it to be that smooth. Well, fiber and a wired connection to really have the smoothest connection.
The wire like defeats the purpose of the whole thing, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And like being away from your home.
I've used it some, but mostly to test it. Like I've not used it like in a practical sense where like I'm out somewhere and like I'm just turning on my phone to like mess with some Xbox games. But like I've used it like upstairs in the bedroom to try and mess around with a couple like smaller titles. Like I experimented with what do you call it? The game with the girl ushering spirits to the afterlife. I can't remember the name of the game. Spiritfarer, yes. Haunty, no. What is?
I don't know what Haunty is about. I assumed it was a new game, not an old game.
Well, no. Yes, I tried Spiritfarer because this was a while ago, so like it's not like the current thing of it.
Gotcha.
Like I experimented a little bit with like Halo, and that actually ran surprisingly well. And like, and that's even with like the controller, connecting to the phone, which then connects to the Wi-Fi. I mean the cloud signal, or whatever, and that worked surprisingly well. Like I was surprised how functional that was back then.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like the promise of Game Pass is the ability for like just all your games on that platform in that library to just follow you anywhere. And me not being the biggest just on the go mobile gamer, like it's something I was really excited about, but didn't really have a practical use for. But for some reason, like I was very excited about the idea of this dongle because I do travel every now and then, or I'll go to like a family member's house for like an extended stay. And if I just had this thing that I could plug into like, a spare TV and like catch up on something in my Xbox library, I think that'd be really freaking cool. Cause like their house might have great internet, or like the hotel maybe has decent Wi-Fi or something. And it might, or even if it functions well enough, cause my phone gets decent hotspot access. Like I'll usually play like Smash using just my phone hotspot, for example. So like if it can carry that, it can maybe just carry enough of signal to let me play like a turn-based tactics game or something or like Sea of Stars, like something that doesn't require a ton of like Twitch reflex, just a bunch of stuff that I've been meaning to catch up on that's just sitting in that library.
Yeah, any game that requires high latency hasn't been. I still don't think it's there. At least Stadia was the smoothest out of all of them. Like I was able to play Destiny on Stadia with no problem, really. Even I
kind of love it.
Even on a wireless connection, it was still the best cloud tech. That's stupid that they didn't do anything with it.
I'm not saying you're wrong. You're literally the only person I know who used Stadia.
Yeah,
but you're like you seem to be very high on it always.
Yeah, I've had better experience with it than PS Now or xCloud by a long shot. The only other thing that comes close is GeForce Now, which you get through a NVIDIA graphics card. You can subscribe to that.
That's the thing I don't like about this period of stuff. I want them to figure their shit out and come to me with just one option. Same thing with VR. Sort your shit out, everyone. Have your little VR war. Have your cloud gaming war, and then come to me when you're just like, okay, this is the best one. Just buy this.
The VR war is over. MetaQuest won.
I mean, no one won, right? Like,
MetaQuest won.
It feels like
everybody else dropped out of it. Basically, Index doesn't do shit. HTC Vive is basically dead.
But like, congrats, Meta. You're now like, you're king of the dirt.
PSVR 2 just didn't get supported again.
Yeah.
If they announce a PSVR 3 and you buy that, you're an idiot.
You yelling at me?
No, just anybody that's listening to this.
I was like, damn, I don't have a PSVR 2. Stop yelling at me.
Yeah, no. If you buy a PSVR 3, I will call you an idiot.
I'm saving my money for Labo. God, not Lambo.
Yeah.
Definitely not going to be able to save it for a minute.
I'll be curious. So Casey jumped in this Fire Stick thing. Obviously we don't expect you to be playing Street Fighter, like any competitive game like that. But like you said,
I mean, I'll try it. Like I'll see if it works. I think it's a good deal because like again, like that's the good part of that library is that there's a ton of stuff on there that isn't your main go-to, right? But stuff you just want to try, like just like some of the like Pentiment or something, right? Like just these smaller indie, like it can be just a really good way to just rack up a bunch of time and all the other games that you when you do sit at home and turn on your Xbox, because sometimes you're playing other stuff outside of that. You're gonna go for your mainstays. Like I'm guilty of that. So like when you're on the run and you have no other options, this is now an option.
Yeah, it's my again, the most time I've spent in any of these is PlayStation Portal, and I like it. It is sort of like my RPG grinder, not grinder like the dating app, but like grinder, like what I was grinding like a dragon or Final Fantasy VII. I was on there, and I was sending messages to Ichiban and to Cloud and be like, "Hey, what's up?
What you doing?
Are you guys single and ready? Hey, Big Head, you go on with Big Head? Oh my God, Angerfoot has a Big Head mode that Yahtzee unlocked. Remember Big Head modes?
Yeah, they used to be all the wave.
GoldenEye and Perfect Dark. I guess that was 2 games. Maybe it was just Rare.
They called them like DK mode in GoldenEye.
Oh
right?
yeah, because Rare had them.
Yeah.
That was clever of them. So yeah, well, more on that once Casey is able to go hands on with that. Before we move on to our next topic, Nosk, thank you so much for an $8 Australian dono. Marty, thanks for recommending The Bear. I binged it, loved it. It's like Ted Lasso, but it makes my chest hurt from the stress. The Bear is great. Season 3 has received a little bit of pushback, and I agree. It was my least favorite of the 3 seasons. However, 3 and 4 were filmed back to back, and they're like the end of the show. So, in my opinion, this is almost Atlanta did the same
setup.
thing. Yeah, where Atlanta filmed their last 2 seasons back to back, and a lot of people were a little lukewarm on the second to last season until the last season aired, and then it very much felt like it was the first half of a final chapter. So that's kind of where I'm at with the Bear, waiting to see. Again, you can judge it as a thing. It is season 3. Like, there's no but I'm reserving my judgment. I still love those characters. I think the show was absolutely gorgeous. I love its depiction of Chicago. Good tunes. The food looks shitty is my big thing. Like the fancy food, and it's just because I don't like fancy food.
Maybe that's on purpose, because I agree. I feel like a lot of, like, when you do sit down at a fancy restaurant or you're at a fancy thing and like they come and serve you, it's like the portions are tiny, the food is bland. It's like they're trying so hard to hit whatever this quality bar is that they kind of don't give a shit about just what it tastes like anymore.
Yeah,
$40 for a single scallop.
Yeah,
yeah,
like
that kind of nonsense.
Tweezers on little peas, and they're specifically placing 6 peas. And I'm like, listen, Colonel Sanders perfected this when he created the famous bowl. Throw all the shit in there, and I'll eat it like a pig, and just serve it to me in a trough.
Unless there's too many meats in one bowl.
Unless there's more than one meats. No, we don't need the trough life. I do trough life behind closed doors.
Just make it all vegetables, and he's fine.
There you go. That's just a salad.
Vegetable trough.
That's just a salad.
It's a salad.
And Jewel Rao, thank you so much for the €2 dono. Who's still excited for Dokkaebi? I am. Yes, absolutely.
Don't forget the little fart at the end.
Don't forget the little fart at the end.
Put a little peach with wind. That's just.
I think it was.
Fart.
Yeah, I think it was. I'm so excited about Dokkaebi that I did a little toot on accident, which happens.
His fart's propelling him forward towards it.
Yeah, that's probably gonna be a mechanic in Dokkaebi. Yeah, I'm excited for Dokkaebi.
Yeah, I
not real.
To come back
it's not real, and it'll never exist. But.
Yeah, like I'm starting to lose faith that we'll ever get it. But like, what a reveal,
happy.
Right?
It makes me so happy. That might literally be my favorite live reveal of a thing that I didn't know existed. Like,
right? Yeah, like it was so
like a
shocking.
To anything. Yeah, and it just keeps getting better. So shout out to you, Dokkaebi. I hope you're doing well out there in video game heaven. And then the last thing I want to talk about before we head on to our main topic was No Man's Sky getting it's the first part of its 5.0 update. Which, did you guys know that they were still working on this? Like they're still just
I had no idea that there was still active development on that.
Release an update like every 3 months.
It's like one of those things where when they announced their new game last year, it was kind of like assumed, oh, like this has to be the end of No Man's Sky, right? And it turns out no. They're adding things like a completely new physics engine, a bunch of multiplayer things that folks have been kind of like hardcore fans have been wanting, but not just kind of assuming they would never get. There's like a new bug stomping mechs that you can have that, and they get like new insectoid armor that people are like, oh my god, you just like putting a little Helldivers inside of this video game.
They might be.
Like you look at this and you're like, this doesn't look like the No Man's Sky originally when it was like, go around to this weird planet and there's this shitty brontosaurus and look at it. Like, yeah, it's kind of impressive that this game just keeps chugging along. And part of me thinks everything they're adding to this game is something that can also be applicable or useful for their next game. That whatever tech they add to this or whatever sort of small, the ability to have sandstorms or whatever like that is something that they can pull over into their next game. So it doesn't feel like you're just getting rid of the work, doing work and then throwing it into an old game.
What was that overpromise that he made for the new game?
Oh, it was entire planet.
Yeah, it's an entire planet.
Like to scale the size of like
an actual planet, right?
And that we're all dropped onto the same planet, but there's a good chance you're not going to see anyone because if there's like 100 of us on a planet, we might be far away.
God damn! Then those Steam numbers really matter.
Yeah, how gnarly it would be to run into someone though, and be like, "Yo, what's going on?" Yeah, that's good. Good stuff. So I'm curious about this. I don't know. I really like the story of No Man's Sky because it was, that was one of those games that rightfully so got a lot of flack right at the right at the launch because it felt overpromised. You know, part of that was the fault of the devs, part of it was the fault of Sony sort of positing it as this massive game, and part of it was the fault of press who kind of got really excited and drank the Kool-Aid. And so I think all parties involved have gotten a little bit better at that over the past decade because it's literally been a decade since this game's hype cycle.
So No Man's Sky changed the industry, you would say?
Maybe like if a misstep can change the industry, like new safety protocols were put in place. Like
sure, we need seatbelts.
There was too many. There was this car crash was so bad that we created seatbelts.
And Cyberpunk still happened too.
And Cyberpunk still happened. Yeah.
Anthem after this too.
And
no, we haven't learned. We haven't.
What's the last time it happened though? Redfall.
No,
nobody was really hyped for that.
I was very worried about Redfall from the start. I was like, I don't know what anybody else is seeing in this.
Yeah, why do you hide your Redfall tattoo then?
The game. I think the game that
tattoo.
I'm hoping it doesn't happen. The game that I feel like might hit that is Stalker.
Oh, the overhype
for Stalker 2, yeah.
I just don't know what that. Yeah, I don't know what that series is to be hyped or not hyped about it. To be honest.
Yeah, Vader Josh says Starfield. I feel like Starfield delivered what it set out to do. It just wasn't that interesting.
Which even from the start we were like, none of this sounds a little worrisome.
Yeah,
because I think everybody from the start was kind of worried that the planets were going to be too barren and boring, and they were. Realistic galaxies aren't fun to explore, devs. Sorry.
No,
they're just not.
Mars looked kind of boring. Every time they send pictures of Mars, I'm like, congratulations on getting to Mars. It's a bunch of rocks.
The best Mars in a video game has been Destiny 2, in my opinion.
Yeah. See, if more planets in real life were like the Destiny planets, that'd be cool. Without like the scary monsters.
No, put the monsters on there. Fuck it.
No,
go all in.
Yeah, we need a unifying threat to planet Earth to be excited again. That's not global warming.
I was about to say it's literally global warming.
Yeah,
that's just not an exciting one.
We need a new unifying threat to Earth.
Yeah,
not global warming, not a global pandemic, not.
We need something that could be punched in the face.
Lasers.
Yeah, you can't punch a laser. Burn your goddamn hand off.
That's what a laser wants you to do.
Think about it. You're playing right into the laser's hand. And you're not even going to have a hand anymore because you cut your hand off like a lightsaber. Jewel Rao. Just another €5 dono. Just a classic Jewel Rao little dono. Appreciate it, Jewel.
Thank you.
Why did Eric say my Nick Wright? What about me?
No, he's talking about Nick Wright, the actor from Shaun of the Dead. His name's not Nick Wright. No, that's Edgar Wright. Edgar Wright.
Nick Frost and Edgar Wright together.
And Edgar Wright. I did. Find them. We made a Go Tanks or whatever. Go Gita.
I'm more confused than I was 2 seconds ago.
That's fine. Just roll through it.
Nick, so to let you understand who Gogeta is, right? It's a fusion of two children. These children are the children of both Goku and Vegeta, who were sworn enemies, but then learned to work together to the point where they themselves fused. You're thinking of
Go Tanks.
I was thinking of Go Tanks. Right. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I made it worse.
Gogeta is Goku.
I've confused Nick even further. I thought I was clearing things up, and I made it worse. I apologize.
All right. So back to the video game. His name's Kakarot, and he came from the planet Saiyan. And like a little thing. He's like a naked baby, but he's got like a
monkey tail.
He got a monkey tail, but if you pull that monkey tail, he gets fucked up. It's like it's like an Achilles heel. If you're
Achilles tail.
Your Achilles tail. Think about it. Red Dwarf.
Also, he can't look at the moon. That's very important.
Don't look at. Guess what happens when he looks at the moon, Nick? I'll give you $5 if you guess what happens when Goku looks at the moon.
You see these nuts on it.
No, he turns into a big monkey. He's just so powerful. He just turns into like a big Kong.
See, the monkey tail should have been a clue, but none of us guessed.
I feel like if I saw a man with a monkey tail, I'd be like, keep him away from the moon. Just fucking keep him inside at night. If it's a full moon, don't let him out there. Red Dwarf, the $5 dono. Thank you so much. Best Mars game is Red Faction 2. Red Faction's good.
Oh, that's
Mars
good.
Game.
That's a good Mars game. That is
Destruction Tech.
That was Red Faction 2. That was Red Faction Gorilla.
Oh, they're all on Mars.
Red Faction Goku.
Red Faction Goku. Think about it. And Morank, $5 Canadian. Thank you so much. Little salute. I learned that the 07 is a salute. I bet you guys didn't learn that. I don't know anything about the internet. Every language is changing.
Oh, I see it.
It. Yeah.
Cute little salute.
Yeah, we came up with that. That's just a little thing.
I've always thought that was just an arrow pointing.
Oh, like I thought
We
it was
have
one of
you
the
have
gender
you have
symbols.
emojis for salutes. What are you doing?
Keep it at
That's
old
oh
school.
07. Yeah, fucking loser. Only losers use emojis. This is what
Okay.
this is what the kids do. You just put 07, Eric. You fucked it up.
Let me see
Fucked it
what
up,
you.
Eric.
Let me see in our messages here on Slack. There it is. There's a thumbs up on the skim ad.
No, that's a reaction. That's not an emoji. That's just a little thumb up. Let's get to our main topic, guys. No more
Yes.
dilly dallying. We got
Let's
some
do it.
busyness to go to. We want to talk about launching a new franchise in the year of our Lord, 2024. This is a little bit from Casey playing Flintlock, from Nick playing the Concord beta, but just from the idea that we complain about how there's no new games coming out. Everything's a sequel. Everything's a remake. You look at the Game Awards last year. Every single one of the Game of the Year nominees was part of a big franchise. It was it was Alan Wake. It was Zelda. It was Mario. It was Resi. It was these things that have been around for years or sometimes decades. And so we're always like, do something original. Why can't you make us new franchises? And why does that seem really difficult in 2024 compared to in the past, when it seems like every generation we used to get what felt like a dozen new franchises that would get seconds and thirds and fourths and everything, and we just don't get that now. And what do things seem tougher now to do than before? Like, what are some of the stumbling blocks and everything? Like, what do you guys think about that?
It's a good thing Eric put the fire on there, because I have a take that's gonna be hot.
Uh-oh.
All right, you want to lead with that?
Sure. It's very hard to launch new franchises when social media gets very angry about them being woke immediately when they're announced, because there's people of color in it. And then the negative attribution to that thing is all you fucking hear about. Because I literally played Concord this weekend. Fun game. I didn't even know there was a culture war bullshit going on around this thing. I posted fucking a minute 30 video of it on my social media. I was just like, hey, we've talked on the podcast. Like, I've said, I don't know how this game's going to do. I don't know. Like, it doesn't look unique or original. And I'm not going to really say it's unique or original, but it plays well. It's really actually a lot of fun. I'd probably put 8 hours into it over the weekend. And then, oh my God, like, my replies were just straight up, this game it's failed, it's woke, it's stupid, it's diversity, blah blah blah. I'm like, shut the fuck up already, just shut the fuck up.
But is that real or is that social media noise?
I don't know, but like it keeps it from, I think it keeps it from entering the public conversation, because like people don't end up wanting to talk about it because it's just constant on social media. Like these games live or die by their communities online, good word of mouth, and it's been soiled before it even hits anything.
While I think that is true, that excuse me, that a lot of the games, especially new ones, do require like a level of buy-in from the public to get going. I do think like that sort of noise is background noise. Like, it's a constant that does show up every time for all of these games that fit whatever stupid criteria they've come up with now. But that's something that publishers even account for. Like, they are aware that there's going to be this level of pushback here, and then they kind of put that in a corner, and then they wait for like the regular people to weigh in, because that is literally just noise. Like, those people are mad about all the things. Those people are not players.
Well, yeah.
Like, they don't intend to actually engage with any of this stuff in any meaningful way. So like,
but I mean, it's not just on there though. Like, you see it in the user reviews on the pages.
But those are the same people. That's the thing. Like,
they're not playing the game. They're just saying it's shit, and people who don't know better are just reading that and being like, okay, well, I'm not gonna play it then. Like,
I would argue that the people who would read that stuff do know better, because most people will never see it. Like, they just don't engage with that level of research to the point where they are swayed by what is obviously like noise, right? Like, the people who would go and check out a bunch of Steam reviews particularly know that these reviews don't matter because they didn't put in X amount of time, or like they're using platitudes that they've heard on their Twitter feed or whatever. Like,
I think you might be discounting like that, having a mostly negative mostly negative reviews, like that red label on your game, because people don't like whatever fucking reason that has nothing to do with the game itself. I mean, that you see that mostly negative thing, and it turns you off from a game even looking at it. It's when developers are really concerned about getting that review score up on there. It does matter.
Yeah, but say you're not playing on Steam. Like, say you're one of the however many million people who just own a PS5.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like when you look at
don't see that.
when you look at the beta, it's got 2 stars attached to it. And most of it's from bullshit reviews.
Are there stars on PlayStation?
Yeah.
If
you go to the product, if you go to the product page, there's user reviews and yeah. So I don't know. I just it's one of those games that like the people we had our preconceived notion of it from the reveal trailers. It didn't look anything special, whatever, played it. I just think a game like this often lives or dies by word of mouth. And sometimes these games get so muddled up in the culture war shit almost immediately. Like social media is a big part in driving people to these games, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, I think I'm signing a little bit with Casey in that I think maybe Casey and I are putting too little impact that this has. I think you might be putting a little too much impact on it. Because we see this as well in movies. New franchises in movies are incredibly difficult to launch, and we had this year. We had the Fall Guy with Ryan Reynolds and or Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt that had a massive marketing campaign, great word of mouth to what felt like big movie stars, and it kind of theatrically landed with a thud. And it's one of those things where it seems like we simultaneously have people saying, we are sick of franchises, we're sick of Marvel, we're sick of Star Wars and everything, give us something new, and then something new comes out and it doesn't crack through. And then obviously last year we had Barbie, which was something new, although obviously tethered to something, but they ran an incredible marketing campaign, and that marketing campaign helped them. It also helped that they had 2, huge stars and huge musicians in the movie.
And that movie also was victim to the same culture war BS where they're trying to infantilize men and blah, blah, blah. Bad Boys recently came out, Bad Boys 4. Remember how the internet and society supposedly canceled Will Smith? No one gave a fuck about that when Bad Boys 4 came out. That movie did gangbusters because people were excited for the thing. Like
the pearl clutching of him slapping Chris Rock.
You
shouldn't have done that, but he doesn't.
Of course,
need to be
that's not a good thing, but like y'all blew it way out of proportion.
This is the scariest thing I've ever seen on live TV.
And then
last week,
was it last year? Yeah. Hogwarts Legacy was another one. Massive controversy, tons and tons of just negative energy and drama surrounding it. But it was like the best-selling game that year.
Well, but that's also an established IP with hundreds of millions of fans with Harry Potter. That game was always going to be selling fine. Culture war was going to have no influence on whether that game.
But I mean, there are Star Wars games that underperform. There's like
but
Marvel games that underperform.
But we're talking about new franchises here, and
we are. But the point I was making was that the people who are looking for like new games, the people who are actively like, I want to try something new, aren't paying attention to that noise. Like they'll probably just try it themselves. Like that's what I'm getting at, because like the people who were looking forward to Hogwarts didn't take any stock in other stuff. They just went and bought Hogwarts.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I'm like, when nobody wants to talk about Concord, like I think it's going to have a really tough time succeeding. The press aren't going to want to get, a lot of people just don't want to take part in these things. And like anytime you voice an opinion as a influencer like we are on a game like this, it's like you're met with just constant negativity, and then people end up not talking about the games that they want to talk about. Like even in my own Twitch personal stream, I was like, man, I'd like to make a video about Concord, but also I just know what the comments are gonna be like, and I'm like, I don't know if I really want to do.
Just make a video.
I like to engage with it. It's like I don't know. It's just not something I want to deal with.
Then you don't have to. Like they can talk to a void.
That's true.
Like usually that's what they're doing. They're speaking to a straight up void. So.
But if we look at
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, because I was going to kind of pivot a little bit.
No, all I'm saying is like this is a sad fact of the state of the internet today. But like I personally don't feel like it's this weight that destroys everything it touches. It's like a stain in the corner, and like you can ignore it. You can be like, all right, this new car has got a dent on the door, but like it still drives. Like I'm still gonna take this to the party, to the function. Like,
if my goal is to ultimately get to a place, it'll get me to the place.
Yeah,
we always talk about ignoring it, but I mean, our jobs are online. Like it's our job to be involved in these conversations and all that, so it affects us more. So but outside of that, I mean, like Concord. I don't know what it is with these games, like continually trying to do the same aesthetic over and over and over again, and it's clearly not selling. And I don't think it has anything to do with diversity. It's just not a very interesting aesthetic. Like Concord, the gameplay is fun. I don't really care about the characters or anything that I've played from it. Like they're zany, wacky looking. It's fine, but it's also like it's just like Helldivers. You get fucking capes. You look like cool space marines. Like I just think people are kind of sick of like the outcast kind of feeling. Weird.
Are you saying
Helldivers
nailed their aesthetic versus something like Concord?
But yeah, Helldivers has a clear aesthetic to it. It's a badass aesthetic. Like people, I think, usually respond to that. I mean, Halo, Gears of War, all that kind of stuff.
You might be right. I feel fully the reverse on that, because like Helldivers is very generic in that regard.
Well, like generic, unfortunately. People like generic.
No, and I think you're right, and that is kind of sad. Like, just give me like brawny soldier man, and then they're happy, right? But like, you try to do something cool, and a lot of people have tried to do something cool. Like when I look at Concord, I see like Guardians of the Galaxy, which is like a visually cool ass universe. But like, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Overwatch works because like they take that art style and they really make cool, interesting characters with it. I think Concord
Overwatch worked because it felt like it wasn't trend chasing. It felt like it was delivering. It wasn't delivering what we think the people want. It was making a statement. Here's our thing. You are going to want it. And there's kind of a lack of that confidence or that swagger, I guess, in development, because so many things like, Concord like clearly is inspired by Guardians of the Galaxy, which, the visual tone of that clearly inspired by stuff like Firefly. But, when a big movie comes out and you're like, our AAA game should be inspired by this thing, let's go into development. 6 years passes. Yeah. And then you don't know what the next, like 6 years ago, Marvel was the biggest thing on earth. And now maybe that'll change again. The reports that the Russo brothers are coming back to do the next 2 Avenger movies, like that might get it back on track. But it's a part of it is that argument we talk about all the time on all the shows about how games are just, these ships are not nimble enough to kind of work their way through these trends.
There's too much on the line. So even if it's new, it's like, it's based on what was new before that worked.
Yeah.
Well, especially for the FPS market, like look at the top selling FPS games on Steam aside from Fortnite and Apex Legends, really. I mean, it's Gray Zone Warfare, it's Ready or Not, it's Hell Let Loose, a lot, Arma 3, like all down to earth.
What is Gray Zone Warfare? That can't be real.
We have
Gray Zone Warfare?
An extraction shooter. But yeah, I mean, like those are the games that sell for like the hardcore audience, which Concord feels like it's more for the hardcore audience than it is for the casual audience after I've played it now. But I just, I don't know. It's like people want new franchises. I said it before the stream started. I don't think people know what they want until they see it. It's clear.
That's usually the case. Yeah.
Yeah. And then a lot of these free, I mean, I have to assume Concord was going to be free to play at some point. They've transitioned it to premium, kind of knowing, hey, like at least we need to make some of our money back on this.
Yeah, because free to play just isn't the wave anymore.
It's like, is it $40 or is it full price?
40.
Okay, so that weird middle, that was what Helldivers was, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It's a good price for an only multiplayer game.
Yeah,
I agree.
I made a list of some things. Obviously, it's hard to judge what's going to be a franchise in the 5-year orbit of the thing. I mean, we used to be able to do that because on the PS1, we'd get 3 Final Fantasy games. In the span of 5 years, Square released Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, and 10. Like, in 5 years. On Naughty Dog on the PS3 made Uncharted 1, 2, 3, The Last of Us, and Left Behind. Like, kind of like absurd what the pace that these companies used to be able to do things.
Yeah,
And
we've made a mistake. Like we got to go back. we got to turn these graphics down.
We can't put the genie back in the bottle. There's too many graphics in games. We can't get rid of any of these graphics. So I made a list of what feels like. Let's start with some of the things that I feel like tried to be franchise starters and ultimately failed. And I came up with a list of like half a dozen, and I noticed one thing that a lot of them shared in common. So from last year, two games that I feel like tried to.
Are these like recent? These are all like relatively recent, or
these are all relatively recently?
Okay,
no, the last like 2 years or so.
Gotcha.
I feel like last year's Mortals of Avium and Forspoken, in an alternate universe, both of those were huge hits, and we got seconds of those got announced. Then the next three were Redfall, Hi-Fi Rush, and Ghostwire Tokyo. And those aren't happening because the studios don't exist anymore. So like all of those things, I feel like maybe that's like Microsoft, it feels like all of their games are trying to be, which your first parties, I feel like any Nintendo, PlayStation game, like the idea is this will become a franchise, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
they're like any first party studio
on purpose.
Yeah, any Sony studio. If you look at what all the major Sony studios are working on, you get your God of War and Horizon and Uncharted or Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima and stuff like that. But it seems like those were the games that, when I think of like AAA games that intended on making a huge splash and didn't, those were the ones. And then at the same time, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I don't know. I was just gonna say, like, I don't know how many games actually want to be franchises anymore, considering most of the games that would be franchises, like Fortnite, they just keep building for 10 years.
I mean, out of the list Marty just gave, I think those games definitely wanted to be franchises.
Yeah, and only of those games, I would say only Redfall was sort of positioned to be a long tail game.
Yeah,
right?
They planned that to be a service game. Everybody forgets they sold a character for new characters, and they just had to refund it recently.
yeah, and obviously some of this franchise stuff, this franchise, the reason we have fewer franchises might be linked to the idea of live service games, because like
that's true.
Like Fortnite is a franchise, even though there's no Fortnite 2. Maybe that's why I love 2s. You got to bring back the 2s. But like Minecraft, like these are clearly franchises. Obviously, no one would say no, but like franchises don't evolve in the same way they used to on the PS3 generation. Franchises are a game that's updated forever. So then if we look at some ones from the past few years that either are clearly going to be franchises, or you can make a good guess from this year, I think we're going to get a Stellar Blade 2. I think seems like that was a big hit for them, a big enough hit for them to get a Stellar Blade 2. From last year, I think I believe they've announced follow-ups to both Lies of P and Lords of the Fallen.
Yep.
And very easily, those games, if they were not good, would have just become those kind of forgettable, any one of those other dozens of Souls-likes that came through, and are sort of weird trivia questions now. More on the indie front, I think Pal World, clearly we talked about last week about Pal World is now a multimedia thing. Pal World will be something we'll be talking about for 5 years. If it has legs after that, I don't know. But Dave the Diver.
That also feels like a game that won't give a 2. Like Pal World will just be a thing that gets stuff bolted onto it.
What if they just made Pal World red and blue? Do you think at that point, do you think Nintendo would come in? And then,
they don't own those colors.
That's true. Who does? These colors don't bleed. Dave the Diver has already proven that with all those tie-ins and with the crazy amount it sold, I feel like that's going to be something that continues. And then we enter kind of a more nebulous zone. And the games from the last couple of years that I could feel becoming franchises are Returnal, Sea of Stars, Stray, and Elden Ring. And I would put $100 down. We get Elden Ring 2 is in development, and we're gonna get an Elden Ring movie, and this thing will be it'll be a franchise. We'll think of it more of as a franchise than we do Dark Souls now by the end of this.
Smell the money.
Yeah, and it's just with this stuff, you can't tell right away. Like there are very few games that have come out 4 or 5 years ago that have gotten a sequel. Like Hades. This is one of the rare games that came out about 4 years ago, and we're getting a Hades 2 clearly. But when you look at the games that have come out this decade, launching in this decade, we don't see a lot of them. It's mostly we get sequels to games that came out 10, 15, 20, 40 years ago in the case with Nintendo, or we get shots at original things. So yeah, I don't know if there's a secret sauce to those games. I don't know if there's one thing other than the games I named probably continuing are good and well received, and the games that I named that aren't continuing were either modestly received or poorly received.
Yeah, I mean, I think, we've hit the big indie wave in the last 5 years, really, with like indies kind of hitting that AA market. So I think we'll see more sequels. I mean, we got Darkest Dungeon, we got Darkest Dungeon 2. I'd imagine another Crab's Treasure is going to get a sequel at some point.
I could see that. I feel like Casey, you've reviewed a lot of these games, Flintlock among them. Which the embargo's up for that, but your review's not up, correct?
Yeah, the review's not up. I'm pretty sure the embargo was a couple of days ago, but I don't.
Okay, no, I just want to make sure.
It's today. Okay, gotcha.
So you reviewed Flintlock, you reviewed Immortals of Avium, you reviewed Atlas Fallen. Sorry, there's all these like sort of double AE games that all just meld together in my heads of, again, in alternate universes, these would have sequels. These would be the things that are like a prototype.
Yeah, like these would would all be.
That's like Focus Entertainment's entire thing is trying to launch new franchises.
Yeah.
And the one that people's most excited for is Space Marine 2. A game that came out over a decade ago.
Did I just read that like an early version of that leaked?
Yeah, an old build leaked, yeah.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we had this at the end of Escapist. I feel like we had this discussion about movies. We were like thinking about franchises and movies.
Like what new franchise has launched in the last...
And like the only one we really thought of was, I guess, kind of Avatar and John Wick.
Yeah, and even Avatar was almost 15 years ago.
Yeah, and like John Wick is like the only huge one that I can really like think of that's not tied to a book or something that would already exist.
Does Top Gun count?
No, that was a sequel of an 80s 80s movie. Yeah. Like it's
I mean, half the TV shows they're announcing these days are not even original IP anymore. They're just adaptations of books or remakes.
Even the great ones where it's like Shogun is like fucking awesome, but it's like, well, this name has some kind of cultural cachet, so at least we can work off here.
Yeah, it's interesting to me. Like, and I've definitely noticed it a lot more in like the last probably 3 years. Really, just the going back to the well of existing IPs and trying to milk them for all they got. But I think that's a part of. I think it's tied to the streaming industry just needing endless profits. You got to go back to the well that works to get those profits. You can't put as much risk in. It's the same thing with the games industry and live service stuff. Like, you got to keep going back to that well to keep bringing those things in. So I mean, when's the last time? Like, I mean, to give some credit to Xbox, like they've announced quite a few new IP for their upcoming slate.
You started to say that, and then all of a sudden you were thinking about like Perfect years.
Yeah.
No, Midnight.
I mean, I was thinking
Southern Midnight's new, Avowed is new.
Contraband is new, Everwild. If any of some of those games might never come out. But.
Yeah, I guess the ones that I'm mostly unsure about, the ones that are not existing franchises. So
remember the Nintendo tease from last week? Nintendo launching a new M-rated horror franchise. It turns out it's a new entry in the Famicom Detective Club or whatever.
So it's another sequel.
However, it is being produced by the director of Super Metroid, and if you directed Super Metroid, you could do whatever you want. You can kill someone. You can kill a family member, and I'll defend you in court. Because Super Metroid is that good. So
that took a turn.
Listen, I have some strong opinions. You know what other game? Casey, close your ears. I think Ubisoft's generally very good at creating franchises and iterating upon them. Like a first game being a building block for Assassin's Creed did it, and Far Cry did it. And,
they used to be. They haven't really launched any.
No, my worry is we had it. We had it in our hands, and it was fucking. Jesus, I almost said Immortals of Avium. What was the Phoenix Rising? Immortals Phoenix Rising.
Oh yeah.
Which that was so, like. I go back, I look, and I'm like, why didn't we let this one slip through our hands? We collectively, as a society, we had this, and we let it slip through our hands.
What was going on at the time?
It was the new consoles launched. Everyone had Astrobot fever.
There's another one that was like it's discount
Valhalla. Yeah.
discount Tears of the Kingdom is what everybody kind of labeled it as.
And now we're fucking
that
6 years
worked
later.
for Genshin Impact.
It is the best Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild that isn't Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah,
Or Genshin
And
Impact.
that's good company. It's better than
Yeah.
Genshin. It's better than Genshin.
Yeah, I mean, I think as far as mega franchises or I think indie games are launching new franchises all the time. To be clear, I think.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you mentioned Darkest Dungeon 2, but Frogun 2. Shout out to Frogun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of been digging through Steam here. I mean, like Hollow Knight's definitely a franchise. I'm sure Pizza Tower is going to be a franchise.
Until the second one comes out, it's not a franchise. Until Silksong comes out, you legally aren't a franchise.
Yeah.
I mean, does it count as a franchise if you keep adding DLC to a thing? No.
I mean, that's what we were talking about.
They threw 5 joints on Hollow Knight.
Well, a franchise
is
to me
No Man's Sky a franchise at this point because they've kept building on it.
That kind of feels like a live service thing right now.
Yeah,
a franchise to me extends beyond just one medium for a lot of things. I think.
I mean, I think there's. Yeah,
I mean, there's different ways to define it. I mean, I know we're talking game sequels and all that, but
yeah, I would say a multimedia franchise is a little different. But yeah, I get your point. Something that's
Slay the Spire is a franchise now. There's a sequel coming. I'm sure at some point Dead Cells will be a franchise. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah,
that's a weird statement to make. But
what?
Yeah, I said who knows, and then I don't know. So I guess not me.
Who knows? Yeah, doctors don't even know. I asked my doctor the other day.
I do wonder if the days of new mega franchises are over. What do we get all the time? We get Star Wars, we get Marvel. Keep going back to the well on Indiana Jones.
Yeah, and when it does seem like we're getting something that could start to crack that egg, it's kind of a flash in the pan, with Power World, with Helldivers.
Yeah,
it's this is big right now, but then it dies down a little bit and it becomes more normal.
We're going back to fucking Gladiator for God's sake.
Hell yeah! I didn't like your own.
That was a good trailer.
I'm looking that place. Yeah. They play No Church in the Wild.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that movie, but also it's just Gladiator's a franchise now. Or how far back is Braveheart going to get a sequel?
Yes. Yeah,
that's fine.
I mean, it actually did.
Probably don't want to associate with
it. It did get a sequel.
Oh yeah. It wasn't that long ago either. It did. They got a bullshit secondary sequel following what's the guy's name? Richard.
Was it those Disney movie direct to VHS sequels?
Liking 1.5.
Right.
It's literally 1.5. The movie's called Robert the Bruce.
I don't think that's that's just someone trying to, because those are real folks, right? So I think they were just trying to be
a spin-off sequel to Mel Gibson's Braveheart with Anus McFadden reprising his role as Robert the Bruce.
That
is literally
his name.
No, but I call him that. But he's literally the same actor from Braveheart reprising his role as Bruce.
Classic Anus. Are you sure you didn't get tricked like my friends got tricked by Black Popeye?
No, look it up. It's right there.
We didn't have to.
You know what? They looked it up and they got tricked by Black Popeye. I'm just worried. I'm just worried for you. I don't trust Robert the Bruce.
Well, the boys started as a comic. I guess it's a media franchise now.
The Boys is absolutely, yeah, it's good.
Yep.
I guarantee the Boys will have a movie.
It's a franchise.
Yeah. The Boys Mexico is coming. Gen V, wasn't there an animated one?
It's a TV franchise. I don't see that getting a movie.
I bet it's gonna get a movie.
Yeah, they literally said
ends with a movie.
Yeah, they said in interviews the other day, they want season 5 to basically finish and then do a feature length film to wrap it all up.
That being said, I thought Game of Thrones should do the same thing, and I was not correct on that account. So,
what was the other big franchise they were going to do that for? I forget.
Downton Abbey.
Yeah, Downtown Abbey.
No, Peaky Blinders. Peaky Blinders.
Right, I'm still waiting on that damn movie. What an unsatisfying ending to that show.
Yeah.
What an absolutely unsatisfying.
Peaky Blinders.
Yeah.
Did you? Are you
placeholder says, "Aren't you talking about Outlaw King?" No, there's a movie called Robert the Bruce, and if you look it up, it's a sequel to Braveheart.
Without looking it up, I think you're lying.
I tried to watch it. It's terrible. It's terrible.
Out of fear, I'm not going to look at it. Darwin's done me with a $2 dono. Talking about franchises too expensive to make, so they stick with old IP. I mean, that's the other thing is if this is designed by committee and this is market research, a company looks at what they have in their vault and they're like, well, we have Star Wars. They make a show about Yoda.
Is it too expensive to make though? Like
games are too expensive to make.
Well, yeah, but like even with these existing IPs, like look how much money they're putting into Star Wars games and Indiana Jones and all.
Oh no, I think they just think it is a safer bet to align yourself with a known brand,
like established whatever, right?
Yeah.
But what's crazy is like that's the problem is that they dump so much money into the sure thing because all their analytics say it's a sure thing. Whereas back in the day, like you could get a new franchise to pop off with like half the development cost. Why can't the new franchises just start a little smaller? Like why go out of the gate with
movies don't need to be
budget?
$300 million. The sickest movies are like $75 million.
The last time I advocated for a brand new franchise, I got burned real fucking hard. You know what it was? Rebel fucking Moon.
Oh yeah, I mean I couldn't
even finish that movie. How much did I hype that shit up? Fuck you. That was
the worst bet of last year, and I made the bet that the crab feeder would be the biggest character on House of the Dragon, and everyone who read the books knew that he was not. So we all make mistakes.
I'm still upset that Rebel Moon didn't
funny.
nail it.
Don't worry, the director's got to come out and everything.
The second part of that came out, right? Was that any better?
I don't know. I haven't finished.
You didn't even bother to watch it.
You're not a true Mooney.
Snyderverse fan?
No, Rebel makes more sense.
Yeah.
I don't know why I went with the second word. First word's literally there. Foz with a 10-pound dono. Thank you so much, Foz. New IP needs to hit hard nowadays with all the competition. Concord looks fine, but from playing the beta, it doesn't do anything other live service games aren't, which is a tough sell for a premium game. Yeah, that is the other thing is you have to simultaneously be familiar enough to get someone's foot in the door to take a look at it, but do something new to keep them there. And it's a weird balance that I don't know how to sort. Yeah, I don't have the magic sauce. I don't have the secret answer. The magic sauce. I definitely don't have the magic sauce. I'm not even sure what that is.
I feel like a lot of these would-be franchises that try to compete with existing franchises like Star Wars or Jurassic Park just end up half-assing it. Rebel Moon, like, just what? Like, Netflix, what are you doing? Why did you think this was good? The other one, like,
was a fan base.
The other one I was excited about, which I thought would usurp Jurassic Park, was 65 with Adam Driver.
I could have told you right off the bat. So that movie was shot like 5 years ago. And they didn't know what was going on with it. And then they were like, well, he's doing well in Star Wars. And he's nominated for an Oscar. So let's put it out now. And he was like, I can't remember filming that. I don't remember doing this. Which is always...
You told me this before I went. That's like the last movie I went and saw in theaters. And I was like, I'm done with this.
I mean, now I understand why you're kind of off the theatrical experience.
Yeah, every time I get excited about a new franchise, it hurts me.
Yeah, you're suffering. It's trauma. Eric,
I support new franchises with my money, and I get burned every time.
Listen, I went to see Longlegs in theater. I want every year. I want a movie about someone with longer legs.
They're still making the point where activity movies.
Until there's a movie with just a dude with the absolute longest legs. It's gonna be great.
Does the bad guy in that have like longer than normal legs? Like, is that a thing?
I'm not sure why he's even called long legs. He's Nicolas Cage. He's got like normal. He's creepy, but he's got normal.
Yeah, like I feel like I personally would be very upset. Like, this isn't what I paid for.
I'm a very literal movie. I'm a very literal moviegoer, and this man's legs were totally normal size. Eric been a member for 6 months, using his ad-free chat to say YouTube is bothering me with the membership benefits, so screw it. Marty, remember Ninjala, the Switch game plus anime that had an Evangelion collab? I don't remember the Evangelion.
There was an anime?
I do remember Ninjala, the game. I do not remember an anime, and I do not remember an Evangelion collab.
Yeah, I played a decent amount of Ninjala. It was fun. Yeah,
not to be confused with Ninjago, which is different.
Yeah, that's Legos something.
Yeah, Legos who kill each other. Harry Son, been a member for 6 months. Thank you so much, Harry Son. Just give me a community movie. You know what? We'll work on it. 6 seasons in a movie, just for you, Harry Son.
I think they are working on that, right?
Supposedly, and then they keep blaming other people for being. They're like, Donald Glover's too busy, and then he was like, "No, it's Joel McHale who's too busy."
That's a really funny response from him because we all know Joel McHale's not doing anything.
Did you see the trailer for Donald Glover's new movie?
Yes. Oh man, we should bring that up. That trailer looks nuts.
Okay, the trailer looks sick as hell. It's got a little album. Also, Joel McHale is doing something because I've started watching X-Files reruns again because I don't know, I think I'm depressed.
How?
That's a different topic. But there's an ad. He now does ads for an online like casino app, and he's just Joel McHale, and it looks like one of those ads Jeff Winger would do when he hits a low point. And then like it's a cold open to an episode, and Britta comes in and like pulls him out of his funk, and I'm like, oh no, like is everything all right, Joel McHale?
That's funny.
Yeah. Nutscoon. Holy shit. We have been greeted by a celebrity. Nutscoon himself here with a $5 dono. Nick, where are you at? I'm stuck in Persona limbo and waifu list until you come back. You know what I can say? We have been trying to figure out when the next Dokapon stream is. Have we figured it out? No. Have we been trying? Yes.
Yeah.
I will also say we haven't been trying anything with Persona. So Nick,
you gotta get on that.
Leave me alone.
September?
Leave me alone.
September. Septemberona?
I gotta go to PAX West in September.
No, you go to PAX West in August and you come back September 2nd. You can't get a hall pass for the rest of September because you spent the first 2 days at PAX.
Yeah,
not how that works. Not how
it
works. First 3 days, you get a pass until September 5th, and then afterwards, you can't bring it up anymore.
What else is going on in September?
Abdel.
September 11th.
Persona's what's going on.
Yeah, let's do a 9/11 charity stream for Persona. Why did I even say that? That's one of those ideas I should have kept to my mouth. Abdel Carlos, thank you so much in the Green Gang for 8 months. But Nick, why don't you wait for movie reviews? Or why don't you have several coworkers who watch so many. You have one who's like literally the best critic ever.
Yeah, but I'm like Oppenheimer just hasn't got that review score I need to watch it yet. It's got to be like.
Isn't the 4K Blu-ray on sale for Prime Day? Whatever. I know. Got your perk.
No,
you bought it already.
Yeah, it's still on a shrink wrap. I've had it for months.
Yeah, you should have waited till Prime Day.
You know what I finally decided to watch the other night instead?
What was that?
Kong X Godzilla.
I thought that was really boring. I thought
it was
really
terrible.
You know who I like? I like.
Then I made an even worse decision. And I watched a new Transformers movie, and that was awful.
Oh no, the one in the 90s?
No, Rise of the Beast. Yeah, that was terrible.
Oh, but it had good soundtrack.
Oh yeah, that was probably really bad. That Rise of the Beast.
Yeah, the soundtrack was the only good thing about it. Half the movie is just the kid complaining about his life.
That was what Transformers 1 was about. Jonathan Lipnicki. No, what was his name?
Yeah, but
what was
Sam
Witwicky.
Yeah.
Jonathan
why do I remember that?
Jonathan Lipnicki is the actor who played the weird little kid in Jerry Maguire. Who was like, you know how many bones are in the human skeleton? Shout out to Jonathan Lipnicki.
What did that kid grow up to be?
43 says Nick.
He grew up to be like long legs.
I put extra bones in my legs.
Man says Nick. I think your experiences with movies is your own fault. Listen, I just needed 2 movies that made my brain shrivel up and die for an evening, and that happened.
Listen,
then watch the good ones. Like, what are you doing?
My brain is activated during those. I didn't want that at that time. I just wanted to feel dumb, and I got what I wanted.
And you still haven't watched Under Paris. We got to all watch Under Paris so we can talk about the last 5 minutes.
I want to see that, but I don't want to see it by myself.
I'm going to put a hard and fast date, and at that point, I'm just going to spoil the shit out of Under Paris for everyone. I'm going to give everyone like a solid 2 months to watch it. And if you didn't, I'm going to spoil it.
I have the creator lined up to watch. I might watch it tonight.
That's a good mindless movie that is pretty as hell.
Yeah.
Shit,
and then I just got my copies of Monkey Man and Civil War.
Oh, I really want to see Monkey Man.
Maybe wait till December for Civil War.
No, I need to watch it now. So I know what to prepare for.
And then Harry Sutton, thank you so much for $5 Australian. Lesson of the day: be excited for one-off contained stories and not planned franchises. Well, you're in luck because we're at what we've been playing, and none of it's a franchise. My first thing, Dragon Quest 1. I've never played the early Dragon Quest games, and I played Dragon Quest 1, which was literally that is the JRPG. And I did not realize there's no party in it. It's just a man. I assumed you only fight things one at a time. I'm like, I assumed there'd be a whole row of folks. Like, he's just one man. The game is 6 hours long. a delightful little blueprint. My only thing is I got it. It's on sale on Switch. It was like $2. It's like the mobile port, which has quality of life features, but is ugly as sin. Eric has it up here now. The little character.
That does not.
The little character looks so ugly. I like the drawings, like the Toriyama drawings, but the
was that like
themselves,
added to the mobile thing? Like that,
yeah.
Like when did this first release? What year did this originally come out?
I believe 86. I believe it came out like very close to my birthday, like literal day of birth. No, I wasn't born in 1886. I'm not vampire, Nick.
Wait, you were born in 86?
Yeah,
I thought we were the same age.
We can be the same age.
You're both old.
I'm 38, but born in 86. I'm assuming
we're not the same age then.
At some point in the next year, you were going to be 38 because I've only been 38 for like a month.
Sure, but the filter just threw me off.
Are you afraid to say your age, Casey?
No, I'm the same age as Marty.
When are you going to?
Marty's actually in January, so you're a year
for
older
6
than
months.
Me.
No,
yeah,
I am 6 months older. For your 6 months, we're going to be the same age, and then for the next 6 months,
I don't look at it that way. I feel like you're a year older than me. You were born in a year before my year.
Again, I get mad at this. Save it for Mondays. This is Wednesday. We're not dealing with this shit.
Marty looks like my uncle.
We're absolutely not dealing with this shit.
That's a really good age filter on Marty right now.
He looks almost exactly like my uncle.
I look like when they gave Mahershala Ali old man makeup in True Detective season 3.
Oh no, Eric just did it the other direction. Child with a mustache.
Horrifying. And then King Dad with a $2 dono. Under Paris, I think you mean Shark de Triomphe. That should have been called Shark de Triomphe, if we're being honest. They really screwed the pooch on that one. They really screwed the Great White on that one. Yeah, and then the other, I mentioned Long Legs already. I don't want to spoil it. It's a hard movie to talk about, but it's getting a little pushback from press because I think everyone bought into there was like the pre-hype around it where this is the scariest film of all time, and this is the marketing was actually like absolute top tier. It was like legitimately some of the best marketing I've ever seen on a horror movie to hide what Nicolas Cage looks like the entire time, to like not reveal that in the marketing, to do the thing with I don't know if you saw the trailer for the main actress, but they had her they had her heart monitor on when the first time she did a scene with Nicolas Cage when he was wearing that makeup, and like her resting heart rate like fucking propelled into oblivion during that scene. They use that as a marketing beat, so like
that's funny.
A+ marketing. Yeah, I don't want to spoil it too much, but the movie feels evil in a really good way. Like I left the theater like being like, I need to shower and call my loved ones and tell them I'm here for them if they need me. And then the last thing I played was Skim, which obviously, like I mentioned, was our sponsor for this episode. I was not involved in that sponsorship. I have a bite-sized review. Everything is in for it. Probably up in the next couple days. But just a delightful 4 to 5 hour puzzle platformer where you play as in sort of an opening 15 minutes. You play as this little kind of shadow sprite that kind of like moves like a frog, but you live in the shadow of this dude, and you play as him from a kid growing up into an adult. And then that opening kind of plays like a Pixar opening, like thinking of Up or Wall-E or something like that.
Sure.
And then you get separated from him, and the whole game is about trying to get past. Trying to get across town and reuniting with your, I guess, more corporeal half. But you can only exist in the shadows of objects. You can't exist in the, in direct sunlight. And so it turns into this kind of puzzle platformer where you're bouncing between all these objects, trying to interact with them. Some things, if you interact with a forklift, then its forklift thing will go up and it creates a new shadow that you can then live in that shadow to get to the next thing. As you are seeing now, if you're watching this video, an incredible visual style, this isometric view and beautiful kind of two-tone color palette, excellent music that feels like a really like lo-fi beats to study to kind of thing, and nice and short, out of your life in like 4 or 5 hours. I thought it was delightful. I think it's coming out for PC, Switch, and PlayStation, I believe, tomorrow. Really good stuff. Big fan. That was nice. That's all I did.
Jumping from shadow to shadow is my daily life during the summer.
It's just, oh no, my skin, I am burning. Yeah. Nick, what have you been getting into lately?
Well, I said earlier, just put a lot of hours in the Concord beta this weekend, which as somebody that really hasn't gotten into the hero shooter genre outside of like Siege, really. Concord like really nailed it for me. I'm definitely picking it up, and I think I'm gonna play it quite a bit. I really liked what I played in the beta. It essentially plays like Destiny meets Overwatch, which all about
that's an
like
A+ combination.
yeah. I think I honestly like I know people who play a lot of Overwatch and Paladins and all that would disagree with me, but like I've never felt like those games exactly felt good to play. Like I don't feel like a lot of feedback when I'm hitting things or anything like that. It's just kind of, whittling down health bars. I know a lot of people really love them for the strategy, but this is a slower paced hero shooter. It's a lot more methodical. The guns and the characters all feel like weighty, as in like that Destiny kind of style. So I really had a good time with it. I'm hoping the open beta this weekend has like the that wasn't a tornado alert, that was an amber alert. I'm hoping the open beta this weekend has like whatever payload mode.
Long legs at it again.
Yes.
I'm sorry, a child is literally missing. That was
We got to find that baby.
kind of just wave that one off. Now I feel kind of bad for talking about video games. But yeah, overall, like I came away really surprised by how much I really enjoyed the game. Like, and also when I do play Overwatch or Paladins or anything like that, I usually only like stick between like 2 or 3 different heroes. I happily switch between like almost all of the 16 heroes that were in this, or 12 heroes that were in this. Like I found them all. Actually, I think there are 16. I think there's 16 heroes, and they were all very fun to play. Like there weren't any that I really didn't like, and it just, for the beta as itself, like felt relatively balanced to me. And I think it just scratched the itch that I've had. Like I've wanted to play a hero shooter of this style.
Does the beta have any of the story stuff in it? Because I know you said that stuff like you don't really care about, but that was the stuff from the trailers that I did find. Like I did kind of like the characterization, and I do still kind of like the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
vibe, I mean, if you're able to do it well.
Yeah, I mean that's their like USP for the game. The unique selling point for the game is like that these characters will really have fleshed out stories, and that you're like following a narrative week to week. So like when you start the beta, there is like an opening cutscene that introduces you to small casts of the characters on their ship, and like what the plot is for why they're going to do these missions and stuff like that. It didn't really do anything for me. It kind of felt like the usual like try hard, like we're trying to be cool for the kids kind of writing. I'm sure it'll appeal to some other people, but as far as I'm concerned, I don't really care. I'm just there for the gameplay.
I mean, I like that idea though, because I feel like that was always a weak point of Overwatch, is that they would give you like these trailers that would elicit a ton of like emotion and care about the characters, but then like everything about story was like in the margins, and like they released like a graphic novel that was online only like every 3 to 6 months or something, and that was the only time you would get info. Like the characters would have little voice lines that just hinted at things, whereas everyone kind of just wanted a movie by the end of it. It was like, can we get like an actual story telling us what the hell's going on with these characters in this world?
What would be cool, which I'm sure would not work from a gameplay and would just anger fans who just want to play this game, is to have it like legitimately if there is a weekly story, have it legitimately impact the characters you can play as. Have it be where a character has gone missing and that character is not available that week, and you'll find out in the story why, like where the character was and why they're off the map. If 2 characters get in a gnarly fight in the story, have them have some sort of like either synergy against each other or like with each other.
They're not allowed to be on the same team or something. Like,
or like they do extra damage to each other.
That
like
idea.
I do not think that would work for like balancing a multiplayer game where people who don't give a shit about the story. But I do think just overall it's kind of neat.
Yeah,
an evergreen box.
Yeah, the thing that actually has me excited about this game, where like Overwatch and others didn't, is I feel like with the direction they've gone with this, like just being in space where anything can really happen. Not that Overwatch couldn't, but I feel like Blizzard's just dropped the ball so hard on Overwatch. Is like this, if they treat this like Helldivers, like they can make any hero they want for this and like take it really in any direction. So that I think if they do it right, I think this game has a chance to be quite successful after this open beta this weekend because like social media and all that was like, oh, the game's a failure because the numbers, and it's like, well, the game didn't work for like 90% of people on PC anyways.
Yeah, we couldn't play
so yeah, we don't know what the numbers were on PlayStation, but I mean, like the subreddit and everything's pretty like very surprised with the game, very happy with it. So yeah, I think that if they find their audience, I think this game will be a hit. Like it plays really, really good. I think it's going to take word of mouth to get it out there. Like this is solid. I haven't watched SkillUp's video yet. I know everybody's pointing at that. He didn't really like it, but I'm gonna have to go watch that. I'm curious what he said because he's a much bigger Destiny player, and I'm sure hero shooter player than I am. So I may be the outlier audience that like this hits that itch, but for long-time players of hero shooters, maybe not.
Cool.
The other game I've been playing is probably gonna butcher the name, but Horticular. It is literally Pixel Viva Pinata, like to the bone. You build a garden, like you go to a stranded world, and you're basically rebuilding that world by building gardens and attracting different animals to it. So like bees and frogs and horses and all that kind of stuff. And it's got the almost the same exact like shop system that Viva Pinata has, where you start the game and it's just got that really nice progression loop of every time you complete a challenge, like you're getting something new. You're either getting a new plant, a new item, a new access to a new creature, access to a new plot of land, access to a new upgrade, something. It's got all of that in it. Like it's literally just a constant progression loop, which is what Viva Pinata was so good at. Like everything you did was contributing back to your garden, contributing to your gardening level. You were making money, you were increasing the happiness of your animals, you're fixing the world, you're getting upgrades. Like it's just a constant dopamine drive of like get that next.
This sounds really pleasant.
Oh yeah, it's extremely pleasant game. There's a little bit of like there is like an enemy in the game that you have to contend with, but yeah, overall, like if you've been wanting a new Viva Pinata game, this game is 100% inspired by it, and I can't recommend it enough.
I mean, yeah, you specifically have been wanting a new Viva Pinata game.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Like, that's really cool that you finally got one.
Yeah, I mean, my only disappointment with it is like I would have preferred if it weren't just like animals. It was more interesting creatures. Like, can't really say a bumblebee excites me, but especially in like pixel art form, like basic animals are kind of boring. But overall, like the gameplay progression loop is what's keeping me in there. And it also plays very, very well with a controller. Like they built it around a controller. So if you want to play it on your Steam Deck, perfect place to play it.
Amazing. I probably will never play this, but fabulous.
But well done. Well done, team. Anything else?
Wrapped up the Acolyte finale last night, which I actually really, really enjoyed.
Yeah, been hearing good things about that finale.
I did not watch the finale. I somehow have not been spoiled, but I'll watch it tonight.
Yeah, and I wrapped it up in a satisfying way, and I kind of my feelings grew in a more positive direction the longer the show went on. I mean, it's only 8 episodes long, but I think the start of the show is pretty rough. But once you get about to 3 episodes in, I think it really comes together. And then by the end, like it was actually a pretty good emotional ending, which don't often say about Star Wars, except for like Revenge of the Sith, maybe. And it's taking the franchise in an interesting direction. And I think it. Like I know from reading the subreddit reactions on Star Wars to the episode, like people are very happy with it overall. So yeah, I think yeah, if you watch it as a binge series, I think you're probably gonna enjoy it more than a week to week, kind of like the same issue almost every Disney show has, because they're either too long or too short.
You said it started to get better at episode 3 or 4, and that's when Basil came in. I'm gonna be honest, Basil, our weird little gopher man who likes sniffing things.
Yeah,
MVP of the show.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm an outlier for
Greece.
I'm an outlier for Star Wars shows where I really love Ahsoka, and I think Acolyte's my second favorite. Well, besides
you have a Book of
Andor.
Boba Fett tattoo?
No. If I do, it's on my ass, so I just sit on it all the time. But yeah,
of that Rancor. Boba Fett riding his Rancor pet. Kissy, what have you been watching and playing?
I've been watching some nonsense, truly. But no, I went back to Bungo Stray Dogs, which is a anime series that I think just finally, after a really long time, got its 4th season. But it had been so long since I watched like seasons 1, 2, and 3 straight through, like just binged the hell out of all that. Was like really enamored with it. And then like the gap for season 4 was so long that I've forgotten literally everything about the show. I just remember that season 3 was a big flashback, that it was really good. And so I was like, crap. I watched like the last episode of season 2, knowing that was the last one that was in the present. And I was like, this is a good episode. I don't remember anything about anyone. This is worrisome. So I'm like, all right, let me just watch the prequel season, and maybe that'll give me all the reference I need to then go back to the present in this new season. And I'm realizing like, yeah, I don't remember anything from this. So, and I'm also realizing that it's a little slow. Like I've been like a couple episodes in, and like it's not hitting the way I remember that show hitting. And I don't know if it's like nostalgia goggles, or if it's this thing that I very recently have started thinking about, is that a lot of shows will do a full season that is just a prequel. And I don't know if I'm a fan of that option, because like this happened with
Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah. And like that was by far the worst season of those shows. And I was already kind of lukewarm on those shows with all the hype it had. But that prequel season was like, this might be a bad show. And then as soon as they like went back to the present, I was like, okay, I'm kind of back in. Like they're hitting their marks again. So I think that's a little strange that they choose to do that sort of stuff, as opposed to like wrapping in some of that history just over the course of a series. But I'm gonna keep going, because I think I have vague memories of like the finale of this prequel season, and like it I remember being like really like not concerning, but like it's affecting. It was like, oh man, like shit just popped off, and this explains so much about like these characters, whatever, by the end. So like, I just need to remember the steps that got there, and then hopefully I'll be good going into the 4th season. But like, big fan of that anime series. Hopefully, it's not smoke and mirrors, and that I'll continue to be a fan. And outside of that, very very obscure web cartoon called Punch Punch Forever, which I found not that long ago. There are only 2 episodes exist, and funny story. The first one was released about a year ago today. And like the hype for that series and like the mythos around it has just existed like very heavily up until it finally like shadow dropped its 2nd episode like last month.
Took a year for a 2nd episode?
It took a full year. Like the creator is this dude Speedoru, I think is how you say his name. He's just a YouTube animator. He's got like a bunch of like little animatics and shorts. I think he's worked on a bunch of like random series throughout the industry for a while now. But like this, like Punch Punch Forever is the premise is there's this sort of like demon world tournament, and like this little girl is this martial arts master who goes and competes in it. But it's this sort of like 80s style Japanese anime that like the story is that the creator like found this videotape in like his grandfather's attic or whatever. It's all BS, but it's like placing you in like the headspace of like what this is supposed to be. Like it's very much feels like it's a very old anime, but like it's funny as shit. Like it's one of the funniest little like animatics I've ever seen in my life. Like just like crude humor, like referential stuff. He even slices in like old like VHS laden like commercials in between like the episode interstitials. Like when you would get a commercial break, cool. You get literal like bits of commercials. Like he has actual like Japanese voice actors doing all the voices and stuff. So like if like it really feels authentic. Like at first glance, you would think this came from the past, but then by listening to the writing, you'd be like, "There's no way that they were doing this back then." But like it's like so funny.
Episodes, like 20-minute episodes.
I think they're a little shorter than 20 minutes. But it's not they're like 8 to 10. Yeah, like I think the first episode is like 8, second episode is like 12.
I need to check that out.
But like it's fully animated, super well voiced, super well written, hilarious as fuck. Like there's even good action in it when there's action. So like I want someone to give this guy as much money as possible to just make this a thing, because like this person is super talented. if you have any interest in this, check it out. Like it's to the point where like I became a fan after just that episode, and luckily had found it so late that the second episode dropped like within like a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
but like other people have been
now you
waiting.
just have
Like,
to wait
forever.
another year.
I guess so. Hopefully somebody will pay this man. Pay this man.
Maybe give him some other folks to work with.
Yeah, like give him some help. Give him some help.
A little team. Yeah.
Check out his YouTube channel as well. There's a lot of like not safe for work stuff on there.
With pornos?
It's not like straight up porno, but like he's one of those kind of artists. But like he's a great writer.
Classic Spadar.
But yeah, highly recommended. Outside of that, I finished the Kunitsugami demo. Like I know we have like code in the account, but I figured it's coming to Game Pass. I might as well like check it out on Xbox.
Yeah.
And if I like it, start to save there. And it's like short story. It's a tower defense game. It's got like a really cool setting. And it's got like some light like combat mechanics and how you like kind of defend after you set up your units by like you run around like these sort of like corrupted top-down maps. And you gather resources and you spend those resources on those people who you saved from like that corruption. And you make them either soldiers, archers, spellcasters, whatever. And you can position them on the map. And there's a lane from like where the demons are coming from. And then you have your goddess who you are also spending those same resources that you're using to create these units on building her a path to the gate in order to seal it. And so there's a day-night cycle where on the first day, you may not get enough resources to trace a full path. Or if you do trace a full path, you might only have yourself to act as defense because you didn't spend any on soldiers. So it's kind of a risk and reward type thing. So I found that loop fairly interesting. I didn't get super deep because it was just like 3 missions in the demo. Yeah. But it seems like there's potential for them to like add like a lot more complication, like more lanes, like different kinds of units that you'll need to handle specific things. I don't know if there's like more like abilities and moves that you get. I do know like you can like swap out different special moves that have specific uses based on like the kind of enemy you're dealing with. So like, I'm sure like this is all stuff that you just learn over time. And even though I'm not a big tower defense guy, the aesthetic and like the feel of everything, like it's set up so well in terms of how you run around and then like issue orders to things. Like you go into a list by just the press of a button and you just cycle through your units based on their name, which means when you create a guy, you have to read and remember that guy's name because you're like, all right, I put what's in so-and-so's on this hill, but I want him over on this crest now. So I need to remember who that was to then send him where he needs to be as the situation is like advancing. There's like little interstitials, like there was a boss battle where like you have to call everyone to you to help you like gang up on like this big guy or send them all to the priestess because stuff is getting around you guys and she's in danger or whatever. So like there's enough variety and I think there's enough gameplay to build upon, but I think it's missing like a real narrative hook. Like it was weird. Like they had me choose whether I wanted English or Japanese voiceover, but no one talked in the demo. I don't know if that's just a demo, but like there was literally no voices. And
I'm curious if the demo is just kind of like to give a taste of the gameplay and that's a more maybe story heavy thing. Yeah,
because I think it would greatly benefit from like a narrative that pulls you along and like keeps me invested in just what I like, why I'm going from like place to place and like who the characters are and like why I want to protect the priestess or whatever, like what her deal is.
Yeah, the trailers have said there's a narrative in it. Yeah,
the trailer looks like that's the case.
You know what's funny? What you're everything you described about it, I didn't realize how tower defense heavy it was going to be. Mm-hmm. This seems like a weird experimental PS2 game, and I mean that. With every compliment I could give it, you know what it sounds like? It sounds like Pikmin. We have a single goal. You need to accomplish it over a stretch of time. You're talking about how there's a day-night cycle. You got to be like, what am I going to do in this day? How much should I bite off in this day? You're sending orders of different units, spreading them out. This is a Pikmin like.
Sounds a bit closer to like Orcs Must Die.
Or you know what Orcs Must Die is? A Pikmin like.
Those are all at core. Yeah, like the core of all those games are strategy games, and I guess that's what tower defense is at the end of the day, right? Like you build up defenses to strategically, take down whatever's attacking you.
Moving. tower is constantly moving. You're not like
Yeah,
you're not
yeah.
tower defending a stationary castle. You're tower defending a mobile princess. A Kinutsugami, if you will. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, is that I don't know what Kunitsugami means either.
Maybe that's twisted.
But yeah, I am very intrigued. Like I do want to play more.
Yeah, it comes out Friday.
Like it comes out pretty soon. Yeah, I think if it has a story that like hits, that like holds my attention, like it might be the sort of thing that like kind of steals a ton of time from me, like without me realizing it. Because that gameplay loop is nice. Ooh, that's a nice
still Kami costumes, and I'm excited. And I like that Capcom is still, for its multi-million sellers, its Street Fighters and Monster Hunters and Resis and stuff, it's still given a little time. To weird games like this, even last year with Exo Primal, with whatever Pragmata is going to be. I like that we're still, Capcom is like using its funds for good.
It's a case where they kind of have an overabundance of like ideas, because it's like you still want them to go. Like we complain about everyone else going back to the well, but it's like, Capcom, please go back to the well.
There's so many wells you have to go back to. Like, yeah.
So yeah, we're full on hypocrites. I know.
Yeah, it's fine.
I think it's fun to go to the well if you surpass the originals. I would say like Resident Evil 7 did that for them.
You can't just live at the well. You gotta see. There's like other stuff other than the well. Like go to the well. Go back to the well every once in a while. Get refreshed, but also explore beyond the well. Yeah.
I don't want to go too heavy into Flintlock because the review is going to drop tomorrow. But that game, I was excited for that game. Like it had a really good showing. Also, if you look at any of like the trailers or marketing material for that game, some of the best like just graphic design on just the trailers. Like I love like the font and like the way like they're cutting like the imagery and like it's like two-tone, like it's like dark on the top, light on the bottom.
Yeah.
That game looks fantastic. It presents very, very well. It just doesn't play as good as any of that. Like as good and kinetic as those trailers feel, like moment to moment, that game is a lot more boring, and that's kind of disappointing. But like the nitty gritty is in the review, so check that out when that drops. I think tomorrow.
Yeah, and that's the next game from A44, who were the developers.
A44, yeah, they did Ashen, which I liked. I liked Ashen. That was a good.
Yeah, and this feels like a huge kind of like leap forward, just in terms of fidelity and like how the scope of the game.
Like it's pretty. Like it's definitely like pushing those teraflops or whatever the hell's going on.
Remember teraflops? We don't talk about teraflops anymore.
I was surprised by how much like the demo just didn't click for me for that one too, which I was annoyed by. I was like, this is a game. I want to like this game a lot, but the demo, I don't know. I think like a big part of it is just like the acting and the characters are all very stiff.
Yeah, like it's not a great. Like I like the setup and I like, I like what they were going for, but like they just do not hit any of those marks, sadly.
Yeah, that's why the like the action games like that really hit for me are the ones that like if you're gonna have like really a not super interesting narrative or characters, just put me in the world and let me do my thing.
Yeah. It's a tough balancing act there.
Yeah, because Steel Rising had that same problem.
Yeah.
Liza P doesn't have that problem because I barely have to interact with any people in that game. So,
I mean, you could. I guess you don't have to, but yeah, you could.
Yeah. Silent little emo Pinocchio there. Casey, you have one last game.
Emokio.
I like Emokio.
I'm sorry, I don't know why.
Workshopping a little bit, but I like it. I like where your head's at. Casey, I want to talk about. There's only 3 letters I want to talk about right now.
I'm still playing ZZZ, Zenless Zone Zero. I've mentioned that last week, right?
I feel like you've talked about it just in every interaction I've had with you, and all I want to do
I'm kind of addicted to Zenless Zone Zero. That game, someone described it. I think someone at PC Gamer wrote a whole thing. That game is like overfilled with juice, as the kids call it, right? Like all of the movement and the actions and the menus and like the little unlocks and like you're getting all this freaking currency. You're getting so much currency. There's like 80 different currencies in that game. All of it's important if you want to rank up your characters or whatever. But like going through the menus and just checking the list and like doing the dumb little side quest where you talk to a guy and then you go talk to a little robot and then that robot tells you to kick a soccer ball. There's no kick button mind you. You just walk on and you walk and collide with the soccer ball to get it to go where you want it to go, and then that checks the box that you need for you to then get that currency. I'm all in. Like it has hooked that part of my brain that just wants to see the numbers go up, and like it's worrisome because the gameplay is very fun, but it is like 20% of what you do while playing Zenless Zone Zero.
Yeah,
like they don't let you fight that often, and like the fights, like they encourage you to get them over with as soon as possible. Like you have bonuses for like finishing in like a minute, 2 minutes, like 4.5 if you're like doing like one of the bigger story missions. And it's like I want to do a lot more of this combat because it's really kinetic, it's fun. Like it's the character moves are so freaking well animated. Like they do this nice mix of like the 3D animations and stuff, but then they'll throw like what just look like straight up 2D anime. Like I think you're seeing in the trailer now, like 2D anime filter stuff on top of the 3D, and like it's used so amazingly well to just like transition between gameplay and like the big character cutscenes when they do like their super moves, and the transitions to the actual trailers. Like it is a super kinetic and fun and thrilling game to like sit and be in awe of. But like, yeah, it's kind of a problem because it is very much a mobile gacha hellscape.
Yeah.
And I've not spent any money, mind you.
Sure.
I've not spent any money, but like if I was a different person, I'd be a goner.
Sounds like a more aggressive monetization than even Genshin Impact.
Yeah, Genshin Impact has way more game. Like that's the thing. Like the monetization stuff doesn't hit you until way later in Genshin because you have to get through so much of the big open world, and then like you're stuck behind having to grind to like get your characters and stuff up. This game is sort of feeding you a lot more story rather than game, and a lot of your progression to get to the next story beat is like do all of this side stuff, which just encourages you to like chase more currency because then that currency lets you like pay into the thing that gets you more characters and lets you continue the whatever. It's a bad loop. It's a bad loop, and there aren't even that many characters.
You sound like you have a problem.
Yeah, your son's gonna see you. Your son's gonna see this and be like, "I'm going back to Roblox then."
No, Roblox is full of perverts. That's a entirely different issue.
God, that's a Roblox situation. Roblox is filled with a bunch of long legs. We gotta get them out of there. Incredible. I wish. I was just gonna say, man, I wish Hoyoverse like use Genshin for your money, but man, make a premium game, damn it, because their games are so cool.
They are fantastic game devs over there. It's just everything they make is just tied to that monetary scheme.
Do you think they'll ever make just a traditional $60-70 game?
No way. Everything they put out makes like $1 billion.
Yeah, but what if again use that money for good? Do what Capcom does and be like, well, we'll take.
That is one of their taglines, isn't it? They're like otakus saving the world or something. That's like their mission statement.
I would love a world where they release a Game of the Year contender, like a premium regular ass game that's like people are like, this is fucking good.
Yeah,
and
they could do it. They have the skill set. They could absolutely do it.
Money,
counterpoint money. That is true. Counterpoint money.
Chinese Mr. Krabs over there.
Before we, I don't know what that means.
It's a SpongeBob reference.
Sounds awful. As someone who says awful things the entire show, it sounds terrible. Before we wrap up, Abdel Corrales with a $5 dono. Thank you so much. This is for Eric and his fantastic producing habilidades. What is that word? Hillbilly Dades? I don't know what that word is.
Habilidades means skills.
Skills.
Oh,
is that Spanish skills? Damn, habilidades. And Custer. $10 dono. Thank you so much, Custer. Just as my Custer is our resident Exoprimal expert. Speaking of Capcom games that take a risk, just as my weekly update, Exoprimal as of July 5th has ended development.
I heard
still
that.
up, and seasons 1 through 4 content will be recycled. I haven't been able to play since the news dropped. Too sad, Custer. I'm sorry to hear that. I can't. I've never had a live service game. I mean, I guess I had the Avengers, but that was like a. I got out of that relationship.
You kicked the habit by then, yeah.
I kicked the habit. It only took like a solid year, but I kicked the habit. Yeah, I've never had a live service game that went just
like closed on you.
Like. It'd be sad. Yeah, I've had like restaurants I like and bars I like close, and that was sad. So
Pretty much the same thing.
It'd be something similar. Yeah,
I'm still, I still have a copy of Evolve. I'm still annoyed that never reached its potential.
I think it was just a little too early.
Yeah,
It came a little bit later. I think it could have been bigger.
Don't worry,
yeah,
they'll probably bring it back like Gigantic at some point. That'll go just as well.
Yeah, how has that been going?
Don't think it's gone very well. I haven't heard of any updates.
No. That does it for us today. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in for this episode of Firelink. Casey, what do you have going on? What should folks check out?
Well, like we mentioned earlier, there's a Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn review, bite-sized review on the way. So check that out when it drops. Also, Marty and I will be continuing our Devil May Cry adventure with Devil May Cry 5 tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So that should be a fun time. Really looking forward to seeing if that game does take the crown as the best DMC game, because right now Ninja Theory's DMC does hold the crown and they're holding it tight. So it's on you now, Devil May Cry 5.
Yeah.
Outside of that, make sure you're watching those Adventurers Nigh remasters. They're dropping every Saturday. There's great stuff in there. We'll also have like Marty mentioned, we're planning a Dokapon thing at some point.
Because that's hard to find several hours that work for all four of us.
So it's coming. That's all we can say right now, is that it's coming. But yeah, for personal stuff, follow me, Sigma Gears 9, all over the internet. The wedding streams with me, my fiance, and my child, as well as Super Smash Sunday, every Sunday at the same place, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 5:30. It's 3 whole hours of just the most Smash. I'll leave it at that.
So much Smash. So much. I popped in for a second this weekend. Your commentary, great. Like
thank you.
Shoutcasting almost like your play-by-play, like incredible. Like it felt legitimately professional.
Yeah, like when I'm not in the ring.
Play-by-play.
Yeah, when I'm not in the ring. Yeah, I try to.
Superman Jeff was fighting someone else. Yeah.
Yeah, so
you were using terms
hear
I
what
did
it sounds
not
like.
know. They sounded correct though. There was like DDD doing some shit. And I was like,
no one actually knows. No one knows if I'm saying what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great time. Come through.
Awesome. Nick? You have dogs for sale?
Yeah, I do have a dog for sale. I have a episode of Unpacked locked and loaded in the chamber for next Thursday finally. And then may or may not be doing
a sponsored stream tomorrow with Jack.
I'll be on a sponsored stream tomorrow with Jack for a new
2 p.m. Central
builder.
Union of Gnomes, the much talked about Union of Gnomes that you've seen probably before several videos and streams. Jack is very excited for that one, so Jack and Nick will be checking that out. 2 p.m. Central tomorrow.
And then figuring out what Friday looks like. Don't know if I'll be back for Call of Duty this Friday or not. May have some things come up. And then no game night this weekend, but probably have a game night the weekend after. So
great,
sweet.
And then you know, check out all those new thumbnails we're working on, and
real nice
working on the Animal World documentary stuff. If you're on Patreon, you can submit questions for the rapid fire question video we're gonna do with Billy Besso. So you can go do that. Yeah, there's other stuff going on. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff. Oh, my solo streams. He wants me to play my solo streams. I probably won't be on tomorrow. Tomorrow's a very busy day for us. So I'll be back on Sunday for more Siege, probably, or Concord if the beta's going.
Concord's bad for a day. I don't know why I said that. I don't know why I said that at all. And then the stuff we already talked about. DMC or Devil May Cry 5 tomorrow. That'll be my last stream for like a week and a half because I'll be out on holiday next week. So won't be on Windbreaker, won't be on this, won't be on the Rewind, won't be on Devil May Cry. In case you just have next Thursday, you don't gotta do anything. You
nice.
Go to a pool. You can go to a pool.
Maybe I will.
Where the pool? You can go to a pool. And then I said there should be a Skim review up at some point. So tune in for that. Excellent. For Nick and Casey, and Eric, this was Marty. This was Firelink episode number 29. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Anyone who watched live, anyone who donated, anyone who's a member, anyone who listens on our podcast services, we really appreciate it. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your evening, and we'll see you all later. Bye, everyone.
Take care, all.